Welcome back to the second part of the lecture, and we're going to start this part by showing you how to download Cisco Packet Tracer and then give you a short basic overview on the interface of the whole software. So as I've said, this Packet Tracer is a network simulator. So we're going to use this throughout the semester. So let's start. So in another note, I am going to upload the installer on Google Drive and Vuex as well. But the software updates very frequently, and it's very often that we need the latest version to run our lab files. So just for the sake of like being safe. Right, so we start by just typing in Cisco Packet Tracer download, and we're going to go to the very first result from the netacad.com. Let's just go there, and then on the top right I have the login option, and you are to sign up on this course, just Google sign up netacad.com, and you're going to be prompted for that as well. So I'll give in my email because I have an account already, and it's going to, I guess, sign me in. Yep. So after signing in, it will show you a lot of stuff, but just don't pay attention to those. Just go to this resources directly. So resources, download Packet Tracer, and scroll down to the download section, and you'll get all the available versions that there are. So as you can see, it has a Windows, Linux, Mac, iOS, and Android version. So I'm using a Windows 64-bit. So I'm just going to download Windows 64-bit. Just clicking on it does the trick, and it will just download the whole thing. Right now I have already downloaded and have it installed as well, and the installation is very straightforward. Just next, and there's no advanced stuff there. So I'm canceling it and just going to open the Packet Tracer. So you just search Cisco Packet Tracer and it will just show up with this icon, right? So there you go. And for me, it directly came to this interface, but for you guys, what will happen is that it's going to prompt you to sign in again, right? So you have two options here. You can use the login credentials that you just used on the website to download this software, or what you can do is on the lower right corner, if you notice, you will have two buttons here. I don't have these buttons because, yeah, I don't have them. I have this account already. But yeah, you're going to see two buttons here. One is guest login and the other one I forgot. So click on guest login, and after that you have to wait for around 15 to 20 seconds. There is going to be a countdown on the button, and after that you're just going to click confirm guest. So yeah, it will open a browser, so just close that, and then it will just take you back to the login prompt, right? So after that you will just come here. Okay, so now what will happen is I'm just going to show you on from top to bottom everything about this interface, everything that you need to know. There is a lot of advanced stuff that we don't need, but yeah, so just the stuff that we need. So typically we have the menu bar here, and we have this options button, which you're going to need in a bit, in the next part or in this part, I guess. I'm not sure yet, but yeah, we have all these kinds of settings and whatnot. I'm going to show you some of the stuff that we're going to need from the interface. Tab and the hide tab, and we have the font tab as well if you want to change anything visual, right? After that we have the typical open, new, save, print, and whatnot, all those stuff. We don't exactly need those these last two buttons. The user profile and activity wizard, we're not going to use this. And after that we have the basic copy, paste, undo, redo, and whatnot. Then the zoom in, zoom out options, and on the last 5 ports we don't exactly need it for our this current course. All right, then on the second line, on the very first, we have this select option, so we can select objects here. I'm just going to drag and drop something, and see, if we have this selected, this thing activated, we can drag and drop around everything. We can select this whole area and whatnot, and something like that. Then you have the search button to identify a device if you have a very large network, but we're not going to use it. It's an inspection as well. Then we have the delete button that we can use to just this cross icon means delete. So if you click on this, it will just delete it. It will delete any item that you click it on. Then we have this resize button if you want to resize a component. Then the note thing, right? So this is very important for labeling. So I brought this back again just for the sake of it. I'll show you and tell you what this is exactly in a bit. But yeah, so if I click on note now, and click on anywhere in the space, we can write stuff. So this is a sample node. So these nodes are very handy in labeling the what do you call it, these routers and whatnot, the topologies. So we're going to use it a lot. So we can write anything we want, blah blah blah, any information that blah blah, as many as we want. All right. So yeah, something like that. So for example, the IP address of this router. So 192.168.1.1. Say this is the IP address of this router. I just said something wrong, but and this is just for the sake of giving an example. All right. So yeah, and again, if I want to delete everything, I just can click del on the computer. I'm sorry, on my keyboard, or just click here and then just delete. Or what you can do is select this all select thing, the select button, and then press delete on the computer, on your keyboard, I mean, and then say yes, right? And it will delete, batch delete everything. Then on the right we have this. I will come to this in a bit, not right now. And this logical physical, we're always going to use the logical tab for viewing our simulation and designing our network. We're not going to exactly see the physical side of it. And then on the bottom, let's go from the simple to the most important one. On the right, we have the real-time tab and the simulation tab, right? So the real-time tab is basically everything here will work real-time. If I click, if I ping someone, or if I visit a website, it loads within a few milliseconds, right? So if we have real-time click, it will load that website in milliseconds in real time. On the other hand, the simulation mode would, I mean, show you visually what's happening in a very human speed, right? So it will just show you how packets are going from one device to another and whatnot. You can slow it down, you can make it faster, anything. You can trace any type of packet you want. We're going to see this demonstration in the next lab. It's not for this lab. So just understand that real time is for real time and simulation is for simulating and seeing what how the packets are being exchanged between the devices. This will not happen in real time. So if something takes 2 milliseconds in real time, in simulation it will take I mean at least 10 to 15 seconds, I guess, depending on what speed you set. So then on the left we have this on the very first line. So we have the time elapsed. So this shows how much time you have spent on this workspace. So this doesn't exactly have any significance since we are not exactly taking an exam. Then we have the reset button in case we want to like reset the whole what do you call it, the configuration that you have done. So we're going to simulate stuff, right? So if you want to simulate again from the beginning, right from the start, then we are just going to click this, right? Then this is the fast forward. We want, I mean, instead of waiting, we can just fast forward everything in with this button. Then on the lower left, I'm sorry for the icons being very small. My Windows is a bit buggy with the magnifier, so I can't exactly magnify everything. But just open the Cisco Packet Tracer on your computer and just see what I'm doing and just trace my movements according to yours. So we have all these buttons here, but we're going to need 3 of them here only. So the first one, this one, this one, and this one. I'm going to explain what they are right now. So the first one is network devices, the intermediary devices. So we have routers and switches, right? So on the first, so this is the group. The first line is for groups. These are groups. And these are the individual units that belong to that certain group. So I have clicked network devices. So the next line, on the second line, will basically have all the network devices enlisted under this network device group. So on the very first icon is the routers. So we're going to, you will know what routers are very soon, but yeah, in the coming lectures. But yeah, so on the right here in this panel, you can see the whole list of all the routers that are available. So all kinds of, all the models of routers basically. And we're going to basically work with PT empty here, right? So to use it, we simply click and hold on it and then drag it to our white space and it will just come here, right? Now it gives it a default name like router 2 and whatnot. So we can just click on this name and rename it to anything we want. So this is my first router. Of course, we can use space if we want as well, anything you like. I'm used to not using spaces, but yeah, my first router. Yeah, we have drag and dropped it here. Then on the second icon, we have switches. And again, we're going to use the empty one. And this is my first switch. Then we have other stuff like hubs and whatnot. We don't exactly need these right now, so let's not go there. Then we have the end devices, the second group. So end devices have everything. We won't be needing these icons. These are for very advanced stuff. We'll be good with only this first unit. So under this first unit, we have all these components, and out of this all these components, we're going to use a computer, a laptop, a server, maybe sometimes a printer if you want a printer, another printer. There's two printers, I'm sorry, I dragged printer twice. Then there's the phone, and then there's, as you can see, a TV as well, right? So we can add anything we like, but we'll be good with this first three: PC, laptop, and servers. The others are like very rarely used or not at all used, right? Anyway, so we're done with showing you the very basic and all this start, I mean just the interface here. And now I'm going to just go to each device and show you how they're configured and whatnot, just the whereabouts of the devices that we're going to use. So let's start with the most simple one, the PC or a laptop. Everything is the same, but yeah. So say we have this random PC here, and I'm just going to name it my first PC, right? So to configure a computer, you have to like, basically configuring here is giving it an IP address and whatnot, all those basic stuff. So you're going to click on my first PC, and we're going to get this whole interface, right? So the first one is physical, and we can see the CPU one. We literally have a physical power on and power off button. So if I click on it, if you notice, there's the tiny green button here, right? Green light, I'm sorry. If I click on it, it'll just go off. So right now the computer is off. If I click on it again, the computer is on now, right? So we have this few tabs. The first one is physical, so it shows the physical representation of this unit or this computer, and we have all these ports that we can add to this physical thing. So literally, see, we can add a headphone. We can connect a headphone to this physical what do you call it, this physical computer thingy, right? So if just to add, we just click and drag and drop it right here. So see, there is a tiny headphone thingy here. So if I just drag and drop it here, and the headphone is connected, it has a headphone now. Wow, okay. Anyway, yeah, something like that. Again, if I want to remove it, I just click from here and drag and drop it to this yellow place, and it will just get deleted, right? So you have all kinds of the ports and etc stuff that we want to add, and there's an explanation of what this is also, so you know what you're adding to it. But yeah, then we have the config thingy. Here we can configure everything, but for you guys, sadly, you cannot use this. Most of the labs, this is going to be locked, and also on your project you cannot use this tab. If you use this tab, you're going to like unable to answer our questions, and that will result you in losing marks. So yeah, don't go to this tab. This is a taboo for 421. Then we have the desktop. So desktop is basically all the softwares that we use after login in a normal Windows desktop. So say we have this IP configuration unit, dial-up connection, terminal, command prompt, terminal as in Linux, and command prompt as in Windows. And we have all this VPN, browser, etc, etc. See, we have a web browser as well. So we can like literally browse webs if we have enough things configured. I mean, if we have a server configured. So yeah, if you want to configure IP addresses, we just click on it and then just configure all the IP address and all those necessary informations. We're going to learn soon how these are filled up and whatnot. Then after pressing close, we have command prompt here. So this is exactly like the Windows command prompt. We can write anything that is Windows based here as well. It's like ipconfig, ping, traceroute, and etc if you want to do anything with our other computers. But yeah, this is it. And then we have the programming tab that we don't need at all. So this is the computer. This is how the whole computer thing works, and that's it for the computer. Then we have the switches and routers. So these are, as I've said, we're going to use the PTMT, and switch and the routers are basically the same thing. So I'm just going to show you the router, and it's the same for the switches as well. So to configure a router, first let's name it. So router 3, let's name it my first router. It's actually my second router, but whatever. Anyway, let's click on it, and after clicking on it, we again get this physical representation of this router. See, and we have this power button here. Like if you notice, it's going green and not green. But yeah, this is our power button. Then we have two ports here. Then we have the config button, which, as I've said, this is taboo as well. We won't be using this config tab. And then we have the CLI, or command line interface, and we're going to do all our command line stuff here. So would you like to enter the initial configuration dialog? No. And enter. So press return to get started. So return is basically enter here. So I'm going to enter here again, and then we can start coding. So I'm going to show you this stuff on the next part, but yeah, just know this. Now I have said that I'll show you some of the what do you call it, option stuff here. So we have these three tabs here, right? So if I want to hide this config or physical tab, I can just go to options, preference, and where do you get hide, and hide devices CLI tab, or hide devices config tab, right? And if I tick it, and if I go back now, let's click on router, see the config tab is now just gone. So if you see that one of the tabs is not here, you just go to options and see the hide menu. The next part is that you can add ports here as well. So see, we have only two ports, so sometimes you're going to need other ports like serial ports and whatnot, and I am going to explain that later, as I've said before, in the next part. So we have all these lists here. So the serial port is this one, I guess, PT router NMSS, no, not SS, I guess both. This has two serial ports and this has one. So let's add two on. You just click on it and drag drop to one of these empty slots, and you got an error. So cannot add a module when the power is on. So it's very realistic. You cannot add a module when a router is actually on, right? You have to turn it off. So we click on this switch and it's off now. And now I can drag and drop here. See, and it's added. Ta-da! And if you need fast Ethernet ports, that's another kind of port that I'll discuss again later in the next part. So that's probably CE, I'm guessing. No, it's not Ethernet port. This here. So 1CFE, this is the fast Ethernet port. You can see everything here. It's all written here. I know that it's a fast Ethernet port by reading this thing. So again, drag and drop right here. All right. And after you're done adding all these ports that you need, just turn it on and it's going to turn on now, self decompressing the image and blah blah blah. So let it after it's just on and everything. So the switch is the same as this one, and yeah, that's about it. So no, that's about it on how the basic stuff works. Just one more tiny thing I'll show you. If you hover your mouse over it, see, you can see all the ports that are available here. So see, you added 3 serial ports. Just go back and check how many serial ports that I have added. I have added 3, so they have these 3 serial ports, and I have added 2 fast Ethernet ports. So here you go, the 2 fast Ethernet ports that are added, right? And all of them are down right now. So we're going to see how to turn them on and stuff, blah blah blah, in the next part. So lastly, we're going to see the wiring of this whole thing. So we have to connect these devices, right? So we can use these wires. I'll explain the ones we need in the next part again, because next part is basically the first lab, and up to this point this is all just introductory to the whole course thing. Anyway, so we can use the yellow lightning. This one is an auto connection, so if I just connect it, you don't have to do anything. But the problem with this one is it sometimes assigns wrong wiring. So it's best that you use everything, assign everything manually. So I'm just going to delete it, and yeah, that's about it. So let's talk about the wires and all the configurational stuff on the next part. See ya.